I want you to relive a time when you were completely motivated. So I want you to relive a time when you were completely motivated. Go back to a time in your life where you were totally motivated. Notice what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, and what it was like to be completely motivated. Take a moment to relive an experience. I want you to relive an experience where you were completely confident. I want you to recall and relive an experience where you were completely confident. Notice what you saw, what you heard, and what it was like to be completely confident. How were you standing when you were confident? What did you see? How did it feel? What were the feelings when you were extremely confident? Now think of a situation when you're completely focused. Go back to a time. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel when you were completely focused on what it was that you were doing? Completely immersed on what you were doing. And now, relive a time when you felt loved. Go back to a time where you felt you were loved or felt love. What did it feel like? How did you stand? How did you walk in that feeling? And think of a time now where you were in control, where you felt you were in complete control of the situation. All hell might have been breaking loose around you, but you were completely focused on what you were doing and in control. Okay? You might not have been able to associate to different times when you were in different states, yet in saying that, what it proves that we can access certain mental states and emotions pretty much at the flick of a switch. Now think about it for one moment. Has there been times in your life where you have kicked yourself, literally kicked yourself because you've underperformed? You felt that you could have done a lot better. It could have been an exam, it could have been in an interview, it could have been delivering a presentation, it could have been in a meeting. Is there a time, or are there times in your life where you felt you could have done better, yet you didn't focus, you didn't have your game head on, you underperformed? Now, one of the biggest travesties in life is underperforming. We can all accept, however disappointing it is, when we do the very best we can and perform at our optimum level and things don't go the way we planned them. It's not great, yet we can look back and say, well, we did the best we could. There's nothing worse than going in a situation knowing that your game head let you down. You weren't at the races. And tonight's seminar, what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to help yourself, or if you're a coach, help your clients to get their game head on, to perform at the very best of their ability. I'm going to teach you a technique to help you get in the zone of optimum performance, that flow state you're in. Was there a time you can think about where you're in that zone? Take a moment to think. Is there a time? It could have been doing a dissertation, it could have been an interview, a meeting. Think of a time when you were in the zone, where things just flowed smoothly. You immersed yourself in that situation. I'm going to teach you how to do that process tonight. How to get in the zone, to help yourself and help other people, if you're a coach, a manager, or a leader. And think how much better you would perform if you could be you at your best. Take a moment to think, in various situations throughout the week, personally, professionally, how much better would life be if you could keep performing at this level? If you could turn anxiety into confidence, fear into motivation. If you could turn an unresourceful state into a positive state. Now, I was coaching someone recently, and she said to me she had a lot going on this year. She'd achieved a lot since I worked for last year, yet we do a session annually, do some goals. Roughly this time of year we start planning for the new year. And I said, how's things going? So I've been through a lot this year. And quite ironic really, because every time I do the sessions with her, she always seems to be going through a lot. So the moral of the story is, there'll never be a time in your life where things are happily ever after. Even though she's built a very big business and is doing really well, lives in a nice place, nice area, nice car, doing really well, once again. So what we focus on, we get. There'll never be a time, I'm sorry to break the news to you gently, where things just go great every day. It can't be Christmas every day. You might have an extended period where you have a good week, a good year, a good couple of years, but life and the way life is chronically agitated in the modern world, we're going to have ups and downs. That's just a fact. So if we wait for a good time, we could be waiting forever. We need to stay focused on where we are and where we want to be. And tonight's technique, anchoring, helps you to keep that focus, that game head on. Some people have got more challenging lives than others, yes. Some people have got easier lives than others to a certain extent. Yet, all that said and done, I truly believe you put 50 people in a room, it would even itself out over the course of one's life, one would think, for the majority. There's going to be a minor percentage one way or the other, but generally speaking, you're going to find that most people, it evens itself out. Now, in my experience of working with people over many, many years in business, in sport, in personal development, I've used this process extensively, and I've used this process for myself as well over many years to help me professionally as an athlete, as a speaker, as a presenter, as a radio broadcaster. I've used this process extensively because for me, mental state and focus is the difference between succeeding and mediocrity. Give me attitude over talent any day of the week. It doesn't matter how academically bright you are, if you don't have the ability to manage your mental state, you're not going to get very far in life. So you could be academically very gifted, yet in saying that, if you can't channel your emotions and be in the right state at the right time, you're not going to get very far. And this is a very powerful technique that can help you drive you towards where you want to be, to achieve the outcomes you want. A very powerful process. These resources, these emotions like confidence, motivation, being relaxed at the right time, these are very powerful resources mentally. These are very powerful states of mind we can get ourselves into, which can help us get the best out of ourselves. And we can do it in an instant. I remember years ago I was working with someone, she was a journalist on the local newspaper, and one of their jobs was to interview a famous football manager, as he was at the time. And she used to say to me that every time she'd interview him in a press conference, she'd go to pieces. And I remember teaching her this anchoring technique we're going to cover tonight, creating a kinesthetic NLP anchor to help her get in the zone. And thereafter, the feedback she gave me after she'd done the process, she said she was completely confident and totally focused in the interviews. And years later, I was watching TV. I was at a conference in London. I was watching TV. I was watching the world news. And I saw her doing a broadcast, and she actually did the anchor. And I texted later on, she got back and said she's still using it. Very powerful stuff. So she'd gone from being a local paper journalist to being in national broadcast TV. And I'm not just putting it down to the anchor, what I taught her to do, yet in saying that, I'm sure it didn't do any harm. And I'm sure it helped her get that little bit of an edge. Because it could be just an edge, a millimetre, between you being here and being at the very highest level. Sometimes it's not a massive thing. It could be just something quite minimal to get there, where you need to be, which is key. So being in control of our emotions is a very powerful thing. Life presents us a lot of challenges. It's not easy. You get up in the morning, if you read the news, watch the news or read the papers, or you go to work, all these things happen around you. If it's not some virus that's going to wipe half the world out, there's job losses on TV or war somewhere, so it's going to affect your mental state. Added to that, we've got our own personal pressure in life. We've all got personal pressure in life. We've all got things going on in our life. Families, we're raising families. It's not always easy, is it, really, when you think about it? Life isn't always easy. It doesn't always go to plan. There's certain curveballs that go your way every now and again. And staying focused and being on top of your game can be a challenge in more ways than one. So we're going to teach you a way to help you under pressure situations. The challenges we've got in the world we live in today in business aren't easy. You literally got to run to stand still these days. There's pressure. It's not easy. People have anxiety, they have anger, they have fear. Controlling our emotions will go a long way towards being able to be in that zone. Being in that optimum state of performance. Being able to be in the zone. Being completely focused when we need to. Being able to be focused at the right time. And that's an art in itself. And I truly believe that young people in schools should be taught some of these processes. Especially the world we live in today. It's not easy. People are under a lot of pressure. Yes, people have always been under pressure, yet today the pressure seems to be chronically agitated with social media, with TV, with all these things that are going on. And I think it's really important. It's not wouldn't do anyone any harm to introduce this sort of stuff in schools to help young people cope with modern day pressures, to manage their state, not look for external influences or substances to help them get through the day. You know, people turn to things like drugs and alcohol. You can manage your state, you can get high on life. You can be focused. Yes, sometimes you can have a bad day, a bad hour, a bad few minutes, but you'll come out of it. No emotions forever. But being able to tap in the right emotion at the right time is quite a powerful thing. So tonight I'm going to focus on how you can trigger the right emotion at the right time. Okay, be really focused, being able to trigger and get into that right state at the right time. When you need it, you're in the right state. When you need to focus and put your game head on, you can do it. Because it's possible to be in the right state at the right time. You know, you could be driving into work one day, you've got a big business meeting at work, and something happens at home, a family member gets ill, or you have a problem at home, and you're struggling to manage your headspace, your game head, and you need to get into that right state at the right time. If every situation that happened in your life, you lost it, then you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. So this is a great technique to help you in certain situations where, okay, you've got the big business meeting, you've got the big presentation, you get bad news, anything can happen to anybody. You know, who knows? Your partner walks out on you, you're having a breakup personally, something's wrong at home, you need to get your game head on for that moment. This is a great technique to help you do that and manage that. Now, be in the right state at the right time. Get into that zone. Because focus brings success. If you can focus on your goals like a laser beam and you're purely focused, then you're going to be more successful in life. And that's the given. Now, being completely focused when you need it. Being in that game headspace as often as you can in certain situations. Imagine if whenever you felt you were blown off course for one reason or the other, you could just get your game head back on again. And that's what top performers do. Top performers have the ability to focus more than anybody else. More often than not, they're no more talented than anybody else, they're no more gifted. The best performers, one thing they do really well that a lot of people don't do is the ability to focus in certain situations, which is key. They're able and have got the ability to focus in certain situations. Now, in life, we have associations to a lot of different situations. The anchoring process, to give you an idea, is just setting up a cue, a deliberate cue to get in the right state at the right time. Now, when you think about it, we've got associations to a lot of things. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of different associations to different situations. So, for example, think of a logo. Think of logos. You might want to write a couple of logos down. What's your association to different logos? Okay, marketing spend millions of pounds every year to build these associations with their product. Okay, think of logos. Think of songs. You might listen to a song and that song elicits a certain response in you. Okay, it could be someone says something to you linguistically. Maybe your parents speak to you in a certain way and it regresses you back to a time in your life. Okay, maybe someone touches you in the back, or you wear a certain type of clothing and you feel a certain way. Or you could walk past freshly mown grass and it brings you back to your childhood. Or you can smell freshly baked bread and it goes back to a time in your life. So we've got associations to different situations. To give you an idea how powerful associations are, let me give you a quick example now. Okay, if I had this cup and I said to you, this cup has water, 10 teaspoons of sugar and chemicals in here. Would you buy it off me for £1.50? The logical answer is you probably wouldn't. So I'd be literally advertising Pepsi or Coke. Now, how do Pepsi and Coke advertise their product? What do? Take a moment to think about it. How do Pepsi or Coke advertise their product? They build an association with their branding. You probably don't even like the taste. And a lot of food that you eat, half the time, or maybe 90% of the time, you don't even like the taste. You're buying into the association, which can be very powerful stuff. So they use visual cues, they use sounds and music, they associate feelings to their products, sounds, you might hear the sound of the can opening up. So they've got various cues that go with their product, various associations. They're eliciting a stimulus response, which is basically what anchoring is. Now, you can take control of your mind and create the emotions that you need to help you get you to where you want to be, which is pretty powerful stuff. One of the keys is for you to be able to elicit your own responses and develop your own anchors. Tonight we're going to cover on a simple process called kinesthetic anchoring, how you can do it kinesthetically. You can also do visual anchors, auditory anchors, you can use smell and taste as well. But tonight we're going to focus on purely on building a kinesthetic anchor to help you get the best of yourself. And think of logos. Years ago, I used this example on my courses. If you had the choice of buying two cars, they were the same car, same specification, same engine size, same fuel consumption, built literally in the same factory, same parts. Which car would you go for? The car that's £3,500 cheaper or dearer? The logical answer is the cheaper one. If you'd gone for the cheaper one, you'd have gone for Skoda. And that got outsold by Volkswagen about 3 or 4 to 1. So you're buying the association around the product. So anchoring is quite powerful and marketing use it for themselves. Now you can use this process as well to help you be in the right state at the right time, to elicit an emotional response based on the stimulus. You can create your own stimuluses. As I mentioned earlier, you can create your own stimuluses. What I'm saying you can do as well here is create a kinesthetic anchor. Now think, we mentioned logos, it could be a friend's face, it could be a sound, a song. These things happen in an instant, they happen really, really quickly. Now think about where this would be beneficial. I want to write down a couple of areas that would be beneficial for you to be able to be in the right state at the right time. Write down 2 areas, please. If you haven't got a pen and paper, grab a pen and paper and write down 2 areas where anchoring would be beneficial to you. Where it would be beneficial for you to create a positive anchor. Could be a presentation coming up, it could be an interview coming up. Where would it be beneficial for you to create an anchor? Well, positive state of mind, positive resource. It could be confidence delivering your presentation at work, it could be motivation to go to the gym, it could be focus in the meeting. Whatever works for you is fine. There's no right or wrong here. Yeah, if you could write something down, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it, because it's going to link in well till we go forward. Okay? Now I'm going to focus, we're going to move on to the technique. I'm going to guide you through a simple step-by-step process that you can use for yourself and with your clients. This is a very powerful process. I've used this process for many, many years to help many clients prepare for interviews, meetings, presentations very successfully. When I was in broadcasting, I actually used to have what I call the chair of excellence. I started a chair and I sit on that chair and associate a lot of positive feelings. And whenever I sit on a chair, I'd get in the zone. I was completely focused on being in the zone. And really powerful stuff. And you might be thinking, well, how does it take to create an association? Not a long time. Not a long time at all. If it's a powerful enough emotion and you connect to it powerfully enough, it doesn't take a long time at all. Think of Pavlov's dog. The experiment where they'd put food out and ring the bell, and eventually they'd move the food away and the dog would come out, or it would salivate. It'd associate ringing the bell to food, smell of food and ringing the bell. That's what it associated with. So it doesn't take a long time. Think of a situation where you might have been away on holiday and something positive happened. You had a great time, and you ever hear that song, you think of a great time. Anyone think about, you've got a song that you can associate to that really picks you up? Okay, we've all got that. Or equally on the other side, can happen as well. You might have broken up on holiday and a song in the background, when you hear that song, it makes you really upset without realising it. But tonight is about setting a positive resource. It's not about collapsing a negative anchor. That's another session for another day. Yeah, I'm just demonstrating how easy it is sometimes to pick up these anchors and associations. It takes a long time, in an instant. So what I want you to do now is participate in the following exercise. If you participate in this following exercise, you'll take it on board. Even if you haven't got anything coming up, it's worth doing the process because you might have something coming up at some point, or as a coach, you might want to help your clients, which is key. The first thing to do is, you don't have to have an event, by the way, you could just have a positive cue if you want to, but let's focus on an event. You might have a presentation, an interview, a meeting, you might just be going out and be in the zone, you might have a party, you might be a bit nervous going to a party. But think of an event and write the event down. So write the event that you've got coming up. Write it down, please. Whatever it might be. Or hypothetically, one of your clients, what event they might have coming up. Now decide on a kinesthetic action. Okay, I've got an anchor here, you can see an anchor, it's a wristband. Okay, I use that wristband, I've used it whenever I coach, whenever I present in certain situations, whenever I'm on radio, I've got my wristband. I neurologically connect to certain feelings and emotions, and I have the wristband. So you can choose an action. An action can be thumb and finger. Sometimes I work with footballers, they tap the floor before they take a free kick, and I can send you a DVD of me helping a player and helping players take free kicks and improve their performance level almost 100%. So think of a kinesthetic action. It could be thumb and finger if you want, entirely up to you. I have a chain I use as well. It's entirely up to you what you use as an anchor at this point. You can change if you want. I'm not going to hold you to keep anything you don't want to keep, but think of an action that you can do. Got an action? Let's run with thumb and finger if you can't think of anything else. Okay, you've got a wristband, you can do that. That's the second step. Think of an action. And I guess the action's got to be discrete. Because if it's not discrete, then it might not be appropriate for that situation. So before taking a free kick football, put that ball down, tap of the foot is discrete enough. Okay, it's discrete enough in certain situations. That might be discrete enough. That could be discrete enough. Yet, in saying that, I was working with this girl a few years ago, and she had severe anxiety. And one of her first goals to break the anxiety was to go to a wedding. Now, she had very severe anxiety. She literally curled up in a ball in a room sometimes. And she was actually under clinical care for a few years. And they couldn't make any breakthroughs. I felt that if we could get her to this wedding, and she could get through that wedding, it would sort of be the catalyst for her to move forward and start building her life back again, which eventually she did do. Yet when we did anchoring, what she did in action was fist. And probably wasn't a good idea when you're sitting in a table of 12 people to do your fist all the time. So it's got to be appropriate in certain situations. She got through the wedding, by the way, and did really well, and ended up getting her life back. What I'm saying is use something appropriate to you. Then want to choose a state. So it's the mental state for that event. So for the young girl I just mentioned there, it was to be relaxed in that environment. Be relaxed, be calm, at peace with the world. Yet being relaxed might not be appropriate in certain situations. So it might be confidence doing a driving test. It might be focus in certain situations. Remember, words are just labels anyway. Whatever that word means to you is entirely up to you. It could be motivation to go to the gym. The state is important. It's got to be the right state for the right time. So choose a state and write the state down. Now, what I want you to do is the following process. I want you to recall a situation where you've experienced this state. Remember, the mind can't tell us reality and non-reality. Think of a scary film, you know it's not real, your heart starts beating really, really fast. Okay? So the mind, when you have a bad dream, the mind can't tell the difference between reality and non-reality. So what I want you to do now is go back to a time in your past. And close your eyes, if you're comfortable enough, ideally you close your eyes to block out your conscious awareness and focus like a laser beam. So if you don't mind, close your eyes and go back to a time, and really a time where you felt that state, be it confidence, motivation. So close your eyes, really relax and go back to that time. You could see yourself like watching a TV screen at first, and as you see yourself like watching a TV screen, you can enter it and relive that situation like the here and now. And let those feelings amplify. Let them really flood every cell of your body. that's what you see, what you hear, what you feel. Really get into it. Really get into those feelings of that time when you felt that state of confidence, motivation, or whatever the state is that you want to anchor. Really get into it. And when you act 9 out of 10, with the peak being 10 out of 10, you can press your anchor and hold for 5 seconds. And start connecting the anchor neurologically. And just release. Okay? And come back to the here and now. Now, if you haven't done this before, that might have been a little bit too much to take on. So we're going to go through it 3 or 4 times. I suggest when you're doing this process, by the way, to do it 3 or 4 times. Just to connect neurologically. And in between doing the process, what I suggest to do is also break state every time you do the process again. You've got to carry the emotion over, okay, which is key. So let me just talk you through the process before we do it again. So first of all, the time in a state. Recall a time in the past we experienced that state. That time in the past you were motivated. Then relive it like it's happening in the here and now. And fully associate to that state. Then when you're at peak intensity, I say just before you're at peak intensity, say 10 being high, and you're 9 out of 10, that's when you connect neurologically. And hold for 3 to 5 seconds. And the two shall connect. So for example, let me guide you through it. If I was doing it for myself, what I'd do, let's say I wanted to be confident presenting next week. Okay? I'd think of a time I was really confident, and I'd close my eyes and go back to that time. I might want to see myself like watching a TV screen first of all. It's entirely up to you, whether you do that or not. And then when I've got that time, I can enter it and relive the situation like the here and now, and immerse myself in that time. And that's what I see, what I hear, what I feel. And when I'm at 9 out of 10 with 10 being high, I'll just hold my anchor and click. And then just come back to the here and now. Break state, unscramble the mind. You might want to think you've thrown it backwards just to not carry that state on again. And just take a moment to think, is that the right state of mind I want to be in? Just take a moment to think, is that the right state I want to be in? Is that appropriate? If it's not appropriate, then change it. If it is appropriate, then keep it. And we can do that process 3 times. So I'm going to guide you through that process 3 times. And that will embed the learning. If you haven't participated, make sure you participate. Because if you don't participate, you might take some on board, but you won't take as much on board as you would do if you give it a go. Okay? So once again, think of the event and think of the state. Let's say confidence, motivation, whatever it is. You've got that. Okay? Then we're going to think of a past time you experienced that. If you can't think of a past time you experienced confidence, the closest thing to confidence to you. If you can't think of the closest thing to confidence to you, think of someone who is confident or motivated or whatever. There's no get out clause. Okay, then we relive it. And when you're fully immersed in that emotion, it's got to be a really powerful emotion. The more powerful, the better. When you're at 9 out of 10, 10 being high, then do your kinesthetic action. It's got to be a powerful emotion. If there's not a powerful emotion, then there's not going to be any connection there. It's got to be powerful. A very powerful emotion. So really find something that's really, really powerful. You can use a powerful emotion. So once again, I'm going to guide you in the process. So just participate. So once again, close your eyes, really relax and let yourself go. Go back to a time. Relive a time when you felt that state of mind, that confidence, that motivation, whatever state is that you want to recreate for that event. Go back to that time, fully immerse yourself in that time with your eyes closed. And when on scale with 10 being high and 9 out of 10, just press your anchor and hold 3 to 5 seconds and just release and just have a shake. Okay, if you're sitting down, you can get up, have a bit of a shake. Okay, a bit of a shake, punch the air. Okay, a bit of a, movement. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through it again, step by step again. Okay, so once again, close your eyes, really relax and let yourself go. Imagine emptying all your thoughts to the bin line. You can pick them up in a minute if you wish, but for now let yourself go and go back to a time when you felt that resource, that state, and fully experience that state like it's happening in the here and now. That's what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what it's like to be immersed in that state of confidence, motivation, whatever state you want to recreate. And when you're at 9 out of 10 with 10 being high, press your anchor for 3 to 5 seconds and just release and just shake yourself again. Okay? Okay, a little bit of a shake. Okay, just break steam. And that's the process. So let me just talk through that again, and we'll do it one more time to embed the learning. So you've got it. Okay, so we've got it. Now make sure we get this right, which is really important. So from the beginning, I'm going to take you through from the beginning, then we'll do it one more time, and then I'll talk through the exercise. So it's the event, presentation, interview, meeting, whatever. Then it's the action, thumb, finger, whatever works for you in the situation. Then choosing the state, confidence, motivation, focus, whatever works for you. If you can't think of a time when you've been confident, motivated, what confidence, motivation means to you. Or someone who is confident, motivated, what they might experience. Now go back to a past event, ideally you've experienced that, then relive it, fully immerse yourself in those feelings, and finally, for this part of the process, when you're on a scale of 10 being high, 9 out of 10, press your anchor for 3 to 5 seconds. I say 9 out of 10, just before you peak. Because after you peak, there's only one way you're going to go. And the key is the intensity of the emotion to build that neurological response. Then once you've done that process, we can test the anchor. Okay, so you can test it. If it's fun thing to test it. If it's wristband, test it. See if it's working. Tapping through the floor, fist, whatever it is, you test if it's working. Why would you test it? Well, to see if it's working, obviously. Yet in saying that, what's also important, if it doesn't work for you and you don't get any associations to the kinesthetic action, just reflect on the state if it's the right resource. It might be it's not the right resource. It might be not be the right mental state for that situation. So you want to reflect on that and choose and decide if that's the right resource at the right time. It could be something else. It might be you haven't prepared for the interview. I'm a big believer in confidence, competence. Okay, all the confidence in the world is not going to help you in a presentation if you haven't prepared and done your notes and gone through it. Or you're doing a presentation on a subject that don't understand. It's a bit like flying a plane. If you haven't learned to fly a plane, it's no good getting on the plane and trying to fly it. Well, certainly when I'm not on board. Okay, so confidence, competence. Confidence can make a massive difference, can take you from this level to here. Because most people are competent enough to do what they want to do. They, for whatever reason, lack confidence. A lot of that comes from the academic system. There's many positives, a lot of good people out there work hard in the academic world, yet in saying that, we have this pass-fail thing. And people become afraid. They become afraid to try things because they think if I get it wrong, what happens? I get in trouble, I get told off, and then fear creeps in. Okay? So that's when we test it. So let me just guide you through it again, participate, and then we'll move forward. So once again, you've got the state. I want you to close your eyes, really relax, go back to that time when you felt that resource, confidence, motivation, whatever it is that you want to feel. Fully relive the situation like it's happening in the here and now. Close your eyes, fully immerse yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high, when you're at 9, press your anchor and release. Come back to the here and now, a bit of a shake. And now just test your anchor. Is it working? Okay. If it's working, fantastic. I'm sure it is working. If it's not working, take note of what I said. Just reflect on whether you're prepared, whether it's a confidence issue, whether it's the right state. You can focus on that. Or send me an email. You're more than welcome to send me an email to let me know. After you've tested it, you future pace. Ideally, we want to put it to the test. Let's say, for example, I'm working with someone to do presentations. What I would do is I'd get them in a room to test it out, to hypothetically prevent, maybe get some friends and family, and they can present in front of whoever really, even to an empty room. Or if there's a sports person that might be taken outside to practice free kicks, put the ball down and practice free kicks. Or tennis player could be just practice their serve, they could do their anchor. Golf as well, they could practice their swing. Whatever it is really, you could practice in real. But if you haven't got the resources to practice in real situation, then you could use the power of the imagination to visualize. and future pace it. So what we can do, if you close your eyes again and think of that event. So imagine you're at that event that you did the anchor for. Just imagine it's the morning or the afternoon or the day of the event, and notice how you feel at the point of the event. Notice how you begin to feel. You start feeling a bit nervous or jittery or whatever it is, anxious. And when you feel that way, just press your anchor and notice how you feel. And just mentally rehearse that. And just come back to the here and now. So you're future pacing, you're visualizing. So I'm going to guide you through it again. So once again, think of the event. If it's the morning, afternoon, whatever it is. And just imagine now, if your eyes closed, notice what you see, what you hear, what you feel. You're at that event. Notice like to be at the event. And at any point when you feel yourself being unresourceful mentally, then you can press your anchor. Okay, get back in the zone. Okay, which is key. And this process is a little bit like when you see these football managers answer questions at press conference. They've got like maybe a bottle of water. Before they answer a question, they might unscrew it, drink and put it down. I'm sure you've seen politicians as well hold back whenever they've been asked a question by a journalist, so they get caught up in the emotion. At certain times, in certain situations, you might be in an interview, and emotionally you might feel overwhelmed. And this is a great process to be able to use to get in the right state at the right time. Really powerful stuff. And I'm not saying to limit it to using kinesthetic anchor. We don't have enough time to go through all the details of setting up other anchors, but one thing I can suggest you to do is do visual anchors as well. It could be that you do a visual anchor, it could be you use auditory anchors. Let me give you an example. I was helping someone prepare for an interview a few weeks ago, and she felt really nervous for this interview, really nervous. She hadn't worked for a while, felt nervous, she's like really nervous, literally coming into my practice like this, shaking, really nervous, okay? And what I said to her, we did an anchor, kinesthetic anchor, which was thumb and finger, but what I also said to do is put a positive picture on a screensaver, on her phone, on her computer. The first thing to do in the morning, watch something visually was empowering, put music on that empowers as well. What I said to her, when you're driving in a car, put a song on that you really enjoy listening to. That confidence was a resource that she wanted, so put a song on that you associate to confidence. I also said put some perfume on that you associate to confidence. You have that as well. Maybe have a drink of water, or whatever it is, maybe a drink, as long as it's not alcoholic before an interview, but that could help you as well. All these things are relative. I think you've got to keep everything positive in certain situations. I'm not saying every morning, it's obviously that every morning you're going to do that, but if it's a big event for you, it makes sense to do that. And we talk about creating other anchors, using other stimulus to create a certain association is quite powerful stuff. So you could use music, you use visuals, a number of things to help you in that situation to be in the zone. You might choose a certain colour type of clothes, you might choose certain songs on your way to the interview presentation. So all these things are going to help you be able to achieve what you want. There are other techniques that you can use to do that, things like the circle of excellence, creating visual anchors, even creating auditory anchors, which I'll cover on another day, or you can email me and I'm more than happy to send you some resources to do that. Yeah, in saying that, for this is evening times and getting the best of us, so I'm just focusing on creating a kinesthetic anchor. But to sort of give you some enlightenment there, I suggest if you've got something coming up, just create different emotional responses, just have different stimuluses to help you stay in that zone. Think about the state you want to be in. You've got a big presentation, you've got a big meeting. It's really important that you're at your very best of your ability, then keep it positive. If you get up in the morning and you check your Facebook and you watch the news, you read the Daily Mail, you're hardly going to be in a great situation to be focused for that interview. So you've got to put everything else on hold and just focus, which is what I did. And incidentally, the woman I work with, she hadn't got the job in the end. So where all things are equal and two people have got the same qualifications, experience and all these sort of things, it could be this that makes the difference. I'm not suggesting by doing this it's the answer to all the world's problems. All I'm saying is that it could be that 1 millimetre that makes the difference. You might do this process and someone else doesn't do the process and you've got the mental edge. And in every situation, the key is to perform at your best. It's the same energy to do something negative and do something really good. So when I help people in call centres, for example, I help them with the anchoring process, anchor states. Not always have to use their anchor, but let's say they've had a bad phone call and they feel they've blown off course, they've lost their game ahead. and the next phone call comes up, and they feel negative, then they're going to suffer as a result. You've got to keep that game head on. That's really important. One of the things I used to do when I was working with these guys in the call centre, I used an auditory anchor as well. I got them to verbally say 1 becomes 2, 3, 5. What I meant by that, you're 1 sale away from 2 sales, from 3 sales from 5. No matter how challenging the day is, keep positive. 1 becomes 2, 3, 4 and 5. And that's life. You don't know. You've got to be in it to win it. But the key thing is, I'll put it to you, if you're in sales, for example, would you stand a better chance of making more? Say you had 30 sales calls, if you were in peak state for 15 of those, or would you stand a better chance of making more sales if you're in peak state for 30 of those calls, even 25 of those calls, even a few more than what you were before? Of course, the answer is obvious. At a period of time, the more in state you are, the more chance you've got of succeeding in any walk of life. And that's the difference between people who succeed at the very top of any profession. In my experience, I've been privileged to work with people at the very top of their game in business, in sport, in all sorts. One thing they do really, really well, they're in peak state more often than not, which is really powerful stuff. And I had the experience and having had the opportunity to work with many people over many, many years in this process, I can't emphasize how strong it is. It's a very strong process. Many, many people, I've had people come to me who've literally been in a fit of anxiety, really, really nervous, really scared, literally like that. Literally, I'm not kidding you here, literally like that. And petrified, anxious of a presentation, of an interview, whatever it is. And they're not incompetent, they're competent people, they're very intelligent people, yet they're not managing their mind. They might have things going up, there might be a breakup at home, it might be they're going to lose a job, might be being made redundant, all these things. But that said, you can't control that. There's no point trying to control things you can't control. Control the controllables. Give me the strength to control things I can, and I've got to let go of things I can't. And the key is stay focused and give myself the best chance I can to succeed. Sometimes you go into a situation, you don't achieve the desired result, you put your hands up, fair enough. We go back to the drawing board, we plan again and we go again. And that's the outlook to have in life. That's the way life is. I was doing a course, to cut a long story short, a couple of weeks ago, and there might be a few people who are actually watching who are on my course. I was driving along on a Thursday morning, I'd planned my course, I was all pumped up to do my course, NLP practitioner course. I was pumped up big time, looking forward to it. It had been a month since the first block of 4 days. I'm driving on the motorway, middle lane, truck cuts in, bang, wipes me out, car, wiped out, completely gone. Nothing I could do. It was a miracle I walked out of the car alive, in one piece. That said, I was literally going to go and do the course anyway, under conditions and circumstances. Anything that stopped me from doing the course, actually, as it happened, was I couldn't get a replacement car in time. And they talked me into going into the hospital, some checks. I went to the hospital, did my checks, I came out okay, bruises everywhere, I had some bruises all over the place. Yet in saying that, everyone's thinking, is he going to come back the next day to teach? Of course I am. I have an obligation. People are there, obligation. And to be honest, I was in the zone. It didn't affect me one bit at all. If nothing else, I probably presented better than what I normally do. I was so focused. And people on the course, if they're watching now, you probably would have seen I use my anchors every now and again to get back on it, to stay focused, which is key. And everyone's saying, Jim, we can't believe you managed to bounce back so quick. And the following week, I drove all the way to Eastbourne. 6-hour drive from where I am. Bruises everywhere, sore neck, sore back, chest in, all over the place. My neck couldn't even twist it anywhere. And I did a presentation in Eastbourne, and everyone's saying, Jim, I can't believe you drove to Eastbourne in them conditions. Well, it's all about walking your talk, is what I say. I'm not going to renege on a commitment. No chance. Anyone that knows me knows. I ain't going to renege on no commitment. I'm focused. And even though I had bruises everywhere, even though my neck was sore, I could barely twist my neck, even though I felt like a wooden man, I managed to get myself in the right state and present and give myself the very best I can do. Because mental state is key. Being in the right state at the right time is key. Being focused. So all I'm saying, moral story is, you might not plan for certain things, but certain things happen beyond your control. I couldn't control that truck cutting in, wiping me out, bang, I didn't even see him. All I felt was a massive bang, and a car flying everywhere. That's all I felt and knew. Yet in saying that, I managed to relax, stay calm, and get myself out of that situation. But going forward, I felt, well, I've got to do something to go forward. I can stay at home and wallow in my self-pity. I've got aches and pains everywhere. Or I can get myself back up and go again. Which is key, which is what you want to do. After I've done the course, yeah, I took, you know, a few days off after finishing that block of 4 days to Eastbourne, more to heal from the bruises really, to some of the swelling go there. I had some big bruises. I felt, well, I finished the course on Sunday, I got to do this talk in Eastbourne on Saturday. In between, I took a few days off and just relaxed, but mainly to get rid of the bruises. But when I went back to Eastbourne and drove, I was in mental state, you know, really, really focused. And of course, it's going to affect you mentally. You know, you're driving along and you see a lorry, you wonder what he's going to do and that sort of stuff. Of course, during the week, you have situations where the unconscious mind takes over because you're only human. I'm not saying I'm unflappable here, I'm not saying anybody is. I'm sharing this story to show you that things do happen in life and how powerful these skills are. I'm giving you a real life story. I'm not saying in the quiet of day or night, you have times I was thinking, oh no, what could it be? Or you don't get anxiety from it. You know, of course, you wake up in the night, sometimes it's anxiety. After there were 4 or 5 nights in a row, I couldn't sleep subconsciously. So I had to use these skills to get my head back around it all, definitely. And I had to talk through the process with another professional. But you get back on your horse and you go again. We're all human beings. There's no point in me standing here pretending to be, you know, Superman, because we're all human, really. But I'm showing you how powerful these processes are to keep going. And I really want to congratulate you for tuning in tonight. Because most people don't take the time to do this stuff. They'll sit back and watch soaps, or they'll do whatever really. And I'm not nothing against soaps or having downtime, but you get out what you put in. With this process, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, which is key. And no matter how strong you are mentally, there's times, like I mentioned there, you get thrown off course. Even someone who is as mentally strong as what I am, over many, many years, I've built my mental strength and resilience, you have times you get run off course. But you've got to keep going. That's the key to life. You get knocked down, you get up, and you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. Because sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes, you know, people are going to be on your back. Sometimes, for no fault of your own, you're going to get run off the road. Things are going to happen in life. But if every time something happens to you, you go in your shell and you think, I'm going to stop, you want to get yourself to where you want to get to. And that's key in life. Every time you get a few bruises and you're in a bit of pain, a bit of anxiety, you give up, you're not going to get very far in life. You've got to keep going and keep focused on where you're going. And that's one of the things I've learned. Over many, many years in these processes, it's about keeping on going. And that's the key. That's the people who succeed in life, the ones that keep on going. So I want to congratulate you for tuning in this evening and participating in the exercise and learning it. And I say go out there and teach it. Teach it to your students. Teach it to if you're a manager, to the people that you work with. If you're a coach, teach it. Because to learn it, you teach it, you're going to learn more. It's been proven scientifically when you teach someone else what you've learned, you retain information up to 80-90% more. So go away and teach it. Teach it to your kids. You know, more if you've got children are our future. Passionate about helping young people, teach them to get in the right state of mind. Teach them to be mentally strong. If their experience in school was anything like my experience in school, where teachers can be negative sometimes, and they put you down, and they put you down all the time, you need to be able to find that zone of performance, to be in the right zone. So go away and help them because they'll do better in exams, they'll do better in driving tests, they'll have a better quality of life, they can manage their own emotion. And what better gift can you give someone at an early age? I learned this very young in life, at 16, 17 years of age, to help me as an athlete, and it really helped me personally, professionally. It's a priceless investment. That's why I say teach it. It's never too late to learn, but the earlier the better, obviously. So once again, I want to congratulate you for tuning in this evening. I've really enjoyed it in the seminar. Feel free to email me. It's Jimmy Petruzzi, info@excelwithnlp.com. That's info@excelwithnlp.com. Send me an email. I'm more than happy to send you the resources you want. I can send you the template to do the process. I'll get it through to you. Get on Facebook, NLP, and hit the very mindset for success. We're on Twitter, NLP Courses UK. Follow us. We've always putting resources out there. My mission is to get this and get these tools out there to make the world a better place and raise the bar and help people. That's my mission. That's my goal. Setting myself big goals to get these tools and techniques out there and help many people that came around the world, really, which is why I do seminars. I love doing these seminars. I'm glad you tuned in. So once again, I thank you. Have a fantastic evening and a great week. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.